I'm Brent Humphreys. He is Gage Berdovich, and we're here. We're going to preview the AFC East for 2025. Gage, how are we doing this week, man?
I'm doing really good. We were talking about this beforehand. Football's right around the corner. We got 3 weeks maybe until it begins, and I, it feels like we just ended last season. It feels like we just watched Kansas City get mopped in the Super Bowl, and now here we are. Preseason week 1 has come and gone. Off to week 2. Pretty soon, week 1 of the NFL season will begin, and maybe a heel turn, maybe not. We'll never know.
Yeah, week 1 is upon us in 3 weeks from today, or from yesterday. There'll be a Thursday night game. Then we'll be watching Brazilian American football on YouTube on the Friday after. So, man, it's almost here. Like I said, it kind of snuck up on us. I'm glad it snuck up on us. But, yeah, it's almost here. I'm here for it.
Yeah, I am too. And today we're going to talk about one of the, I don't want to say most interesting divisions, but at least one of the ones that we know doesn't fully suck.
Yes, this division right here, there's not like 4 teams that doesn't have a chance to win the Super Bowl. Like, I don't know, maybe a division we went over last week or the week before. I don't think any of those teams have a shot at winning the Super Bowl. Yeah. This one here does have a contender, and it's got some intriguing other teams in there, I believe. Yeah. One team that sucks for sure, but
Oh, yeah, like a former Steeler quarterback might be the starter for one of these teams, and I feel like that team's going to suck.
Yeah. But before we get into that, let's go over a few things here outside of football. Gage, you checked out a Pittsburgh Pirates game last week. Who did they play in that game?
I believe it was the Cincinnati Reds.
And who won that game in the game you attended?
I believe it was the Cincinnati Reds.
Nice. And was that an offensive firepower game there?
Surprisingly, yes. The final score was a 14-8. I would like it to also be known, however, that while the Reds did win the game, I placed just a single bet on the game for Zach Little, how do you pronounce his name, to record 5 strikeouts. He ended with 3. He didn't get his first one until, I believe, the 3rd inning. Meanwhile, I could have took the Pirates pitcher Mike Burrows, who struck out 2 in the first and ended with 6, but I did not. So I took a double loss that day and got screwed by both teams. And I don't very much appreciate it at all.
Man, I thought that was a great game offensively. If you were there attending it, it was a great game, unless you were, the home team there. But a lot of runs scored. If you're there for pitching, that was not the game for you.
No, not at all. I mean, starter for Pittsburgh, Mike Burrows, okay outing. 5 innings, 3 hits, 4 earned, which is kind of but 1 walk, 6 strikeouts. We'll take that. And then you got into the bullpen. Yohan Ramirez, 3 earned in an inning and a third. Dauri Moreta, 2 earned in an inning and a third. Ryan Barucki finished it out. He was cool. The 3rd scoreless. And then Cam Saunders came in. This guy I was so high on when they called him up from AAA. I was like, he has like a 30% strikeout rate. Doing phenomenal. Came into this game with a 0 ERA. I don't know what his ERA was after this game, but he gave up 5 in a third. And then Isaac Madison came in and finished it out. There was so much hope. I believe it was in the 8th inning. When who was it? Someone made a defensive blunder for the Reds at second base. Matt McClain,
yeah.
Overthrew the second baseman when he caught the ball trying to get a double play and scored 2 runs. I was like, all right, it's like 8-6. This is great. We're going to come back. And then 14-8 was the final.
Yeah, and the Reds took that game there to split with the Pirates, the series. And last week when I got on here, I was like, man, it's not going so well. The Reds' playoff hopes are bad, but so are the Mets. They are bad right now. They've been losing like every game just about. And the Reds keep winning. Reds took 2 or 3 from the Phillies, and Wednesday's game was an entertaining game. Novelli Marte had a Little League home run for the Reds. Miguel Andujar, who they got, I don't know if I'm even saying it right, got at the trade deadline from the A's, hits a grand slam. That guy's like hitting 370 since coming over to the Reds. What a steal. And Key Brian Hayes is hitting the ball pretty well, and he's got that glove over there at third base. I know. Sorry, Gage. Sorry about that. But and Zach Littell or Zach Little or Zach Literal or whatever his name is, has, won a couple of games, we'll say. I don't know if he's been great or anything, but he's not been too terrible. Had a lot of run support the other day, but the Reds are rolling right now, and they're only a half a game out of a wild card spot. But this weekend, they play the Milwaukee Brewers, who are the hottest team in baseball right now, winning 27 of their last 31 games. I think like 12 in a row or something crazy like that at one point in time. It's been ridiculous. They, beat Skeens up the other night against Pittsburgh.
Yeah, it was not a pretty outing at all for Skeens or the entire team for that point. At one point, I believe it was the ninth inning, they had Jared Triolo in pitching, the third baseman that replaced Ebron. I think the final was like 14-0. It feels like that way at least. But the one guy you mentioned, Miguel Andujar, he was a Pirate for 2 years. Actually, about a year and a half. Finished out the 2022 season with the Pirates, played 9 games, and in 2023 played 30 games. I don't remember why, but he played 30 games that season. I've always been a fan of Andujar. And for him to be batting 370 now in his time with the Reds, come on.
Yes.
It was cheap. I don't know exactly what the trade was that they put in to get him from the A's, but it was obviously worth it.
It wasn't much. Yeah.
I mean, 10 games, 27 at-bats, 4 walks, 7 strikeouts, 8 ribbies, bunch of home runs. He hit one Sunday against the Pirates, hit the grand slam. Like, okay, this guy should be worth more than what he is.
Yeah, like the Reds, I don't even know what they gave. It wasn't much at all that they gave up for him. They didn't really give up a whole lot for Key Brian either.
Yeah, thanks.
Or Zach Littell. So, I mean, they really didn't give up a whole lot and got these guys that are contributing right now to the team. So, props to Nick Kroll and the guys over there in the Reds front office for actually making deals that are helping the team.
Yeah, how's it feel? How's it feel to be making deals that actually help out the team and you're not fire selling everybody?
It's weird because I'm not used to that. Usually we trade off everybody but Joey Votto. So it's like the only player we've ever kept. And, but it's weird. I like it. It feels good.
Yeah, hopefully someday I'll be able to learn what that feels like. I doubt it, though. But looking at it, sign up today for MLB. No, go away. Trade details. Reds get utility player Miguel Andujar, and the Athletics get right-handed pitcher Kenya Huggins, Reds number 22 prospect.
Yeah, I'm good with that trade. Okay, number 22 prospect. Like, there's been number 1 prospects that don't even pan out. So, yeah, I'm fine with that.
He is playing on a 1-year, $3 million contract.
So he's a rental. That's fine. $3 million contract? Are you kidding me? That's nothing.
Yep.
Wow. I mean, it would be something to me, but I mean, it's nothing for a Major League Baseball player to get $3 million.
I'll play for $3 million. Where do I sign up?
Yeah, from here until the end of the year? Sure. Whatever.
I don't care what team it is. I prefer the Dodgers or maybe some other team that I can go ring chasing with. But
yeah, or the Brewers right now. I don't like the Brewers. I can't say that. I don't like the Brewers.
No.
The Indians are pretty hot right now. They're also a half a game back of the wild card. Something in Ohio must be going on. I don't know.
Yeah, I wonder if they're laying all their cards out on their playoff chances.
I don't know. It's interesting though. So we'll hope the Reds get at least 1 game this weekend, maybe 2.
Is it a 3 or a 4 game series?
I believe it's a 3-game series.
Ooh, if you win the series.
Oh, yes. I'm not sure who the Mets are playing, but just continue to suck. That's all I care for. Just do that.
Isn't it crazy at the beginning of the season we were like, oh, yeah, I'll give it a month and both of our teams will be down and all the hope will be lost. And here we are in mid-August, and you're like, oh, I'm half a game out of the wild card spot. And I'm here like, hey, how you doing?
I was all like ready to be like, all right, it's all Bengals all the time now. We're focusing on the NFL by now and everything. Even last week, like I said, I thought that it was going to be that way. And then the Reds have done what they've done this week, and the Mets have done what they've done. And I'm like, we've still got baseball. Yeah. What do you say?
I miss that feeling of actually enjoying the baseball season.
So before we get back into the AFC East, which is our topic for the day, let's talk about a little preseason last week. And there was some history made in the Pittsburgh Steelers game last week, Gage. What'd you think about it?
I was very surprised. Mason Rudolph and Skylar Thompson both performing very well. I was kind of worried about the run game a little bit. Not much running to happen. So I was like, I don't know. But receivers played well. The tight ends played well. Offensive line, I thought, was very good. I believe they only let up 2 sacks, I believe. One on Thompson in the red zone, and then one on Rudolph. But he held that ball forever. It felt like 10, 20 seconds he was holding on to that ball. So I can't blame the offensive line for that. Defensive-wise, I know they let up a lot of points, but overall, I was very impressed. And in the history you're talking about, it may not be an official kick, but Cam Little, he's a little guy. I can't believe he was able to hit a 70-yarder. And it looked like it was good from 75, maybe 77.
Yeah.
So that makes me wonder, are they going to send him out now for longer field goals like that? If it's the end of the half, end of the game, or just a blowout in general? Like, is the NFL trying to erase Justin Tucker's name from history?
Yes, that's what's going to happen. They're trying to get him off the history books after all the allegations. So, yeah, if we can get somebody to hit a 70-yarder, let's go for it. And, it's going to happen in the season. I mean, if he's already beating it by 4 yards and being good from, like you said, maybe 75, they're definitely going to break that record sooner rather than later.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I was at work during the game, and I just get the Bleacher Report notification. Jags kicker hits 70-yard field goal. I'm like, huh? Like, that has to be a typo. Like, what are you talking about? And then I watched it. I was like, oh, my God, he did. And it was cleared by a while.
Yeah, I seen that too, and I'm like, man, Liam Cohen already out here with his influence on the kickers. Duval.
It's good.
70 yards. Oh, well, so that's, not a whole lot else going on out there right now. Still training camp and all that. Shamar Stewart's trying to kill Joe Burrow, and Ted Karras is trying to kill Shamar Stewart for trying to kill Joe Burrow. So that's how things are going on in the Bengals. What a way to make an impact in your rookie season, right? Take out the guy who's, the breadwinner for the team.
You hold out on signing your rookie deal, and then you try to kill the quarterback.
Yeah, it's not like you're trying to kill Jake Browning, which, okay, that's fine, but it's Joe Burrow, man.
Or even Desmond Ridder. Like, all right, cool.
Yeah, take Desmond Ridder out for everybody's sake, not Joe Burrow. What are you doing, man? They paid you. Don't sabotage him now.
Or they need to have a joint practice with Cleveland so he can take out all 72 quarterbacks that they have on that roster.
Oh, yes. Shedeur Sanders last week. Boy, people's ready to put him in the Hall of Fame now, aren't they?
Oh, my God. Like, okay, one, it was against Carolina. And two, it was against, the third stringers. Like, come on.
Let's cool it on the Shedeur Sanders gold jacket talk.
I hope Dylan Gabriel starts this week and has an even better game than what Shedeur.
Because if he doesn't, you know what the talk's going to be already. Yeah. Everybody passed on Shedeur, which, whatever. But that's what it'll be.
Yeah. And then they also got Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, Deshaun Watson, Snoop Huntley. They might have went out and signed Matt Ryan, Matt Moore. Why are those the only two non-playing quarterbacks that can come to mind right now. I don't
Phillip
know.
Rivers.
Phillip Rivers, David
they-
Carr brought him out of retirement.
The Browns are going to have more quarterbacks than Phillip Rivers has kids by the end of the preseason. Oh, well, so that brings us to the AFC East. The AFC East in 2025 is a division of, I don't know, some interesting teams with the Buffalo Bills as the clear juggernauts. And then the other three teams, the Patriots, the Jets, and the Dolphins, trying to keep up with them and trying to avoid being in the basement of this division.
Yeah.
So we'll start off with the team to beat, and that is the Buffalo Bills. Gage, what do we think about those Buffalo Bills?
So they finished last year at 13-4. They were second in points scored per game at 30.9, and their defense was decent. 21.7 points allowed per game, tied for 11th. Surprisingly, that was not the best in the division, but we'll get to that a little bit later. The over-under win line by BetMGM for the Bills is 11.5, which I don't know if that's low or if that's high for them. Kind of depends on how you feel, really on the signings that they made in free agency and how they did in the draft. But my key question for them is, can they finally win the AFC? Which you could just say, can they beat the Chiefs in the playoffs? The Bills are now 0-4 against postseason Patrick Mahomes. Not the only time in their franchise history they've gone 0-4 in a span, but we won't talk about that. They lost 3 of those games by a combined 12 points. So to avoid another heartbreaking ending, Buffalo needs this defense to step it up. So then my position to watch, I'm going to go to the entire defense. They were a turnover merchant. They had 32 total turnovers defensive-wise, which was third best in the NFL. And that kind of masked the unit's struggles on third down. They finished 32nd in opponent third down passing conversion rate and allowed opposing passers to convert third downs at a 42.9% clip, which was the league's highest and probably the highest we've seen in a while. Free agent signings along their defensive line and in their secondary, plus they went really defensive heavy in the draft, should be able to change that, but we don't really know. Now, I wrote this up before the James Cook signing, before they gave him his contract. So I put my other position to watch as the running back position. And I have this whole thing typed out because I didn't go and fix it after they signed him. So I start off with, there's more to this group than James Cook's potential hold-in, but now there's more to this group than James Cook, playing for a contract. He got his extension. So is he going to have the production that he had last year? Usually we see it when players are playing for a contract. That's when their seasons, their career best are. Now that he's got the money, running backs kind of die off. And I hate to say it, but it's true. So they also got Ray Davis. He showed a 3-down skill set that maybe James Cook lacks a little bit. He played 47% of snaps in 2024, splitting time with Ray Davis and Ty Johnson. And when Cook missed week 6, Davis took 23 touches for 152 yards. Maybe this is going to be a 1-2 punch backfield. I don't really know. So it's going to be interesting to see. But we're going to go to a breakout player. I did not know that they signed this wide receiver until doing this. We're going to go to Josh Palmer, former Chargers receiver. Now, some might say, why not Keon Coleman? Why not Keon Coleman? Because I think Josh Palmer has a better season than Keon Coleman. I'm not a Coleman fan at all. The former Charger, he's still on the uprise. He's only 25 years old, and he signed a $36 million contract with Buffalo to fill the need at the Z receiver role. Now, don't take my word for it. Other reporters around the NFL are saying that this guy is the potential to be number 1, maybe the number 2 on this team. Excuse me. Now, Keon Coleman, like I mentioned, he struggled to create separation in 2024. And according to all reports, he's had an inconsistent minicamp. So that's why I didn't pick him for that, and I went to Palmer. So are they better than what they were in 2024? Stat-wise, I said this last week about different teams. Stat-wise, yes. Record-wise, no. 13-4 is going to be hard to beat, and I don't think they do it. However, I think 11-12 wins is possible. So at the 11.5 win over-under line, it's hard to tell. It's either going to be 11 or 12. I'll take the over and just say the 12. But yeah, I still think that they win the division.
So last year, the Bills finished 13-4, winning their 5th consecutive AFC East title. Josh Allen secured his first MVP award, throwing for over 3,700 yards, 28 touchdowns, rushing for 531 and 12 scores. The offense set a record with 525 points scored, franchise record, and their defense remained stout despite some injuries. And once again, the question is with them, they always fail when it matters most, as they lost in the AFC Championship game to the Chiefs, which will be motivation for their 2025 season. Some key moves they made off-season. They signed defensive end Joey Bosa, Josh Palmer, as you mentioned, Elijah Moore, Shaq Thompson at linebacker, Larry Ojinobi, former Pittsburgh, Cleveland Browns, Cincinnati Bengal. They bring back Tre'Davious White, who I believe was in Baltimore last year. And then they, in the draft, they brought in cornerback Maxwell Hairston with their first-round pick from the University of Kentucky. And fourth-round pick Deion Walker, also from the University of Kentucky. So they like their Kentucky football there with Ray Davis at running back already there. They bring back their entire starting offensive line. They just signed James Cook to a 4-year, $48 million extension. They really didn't lose a whole lot from this team. They're bringing back a core that was pretty consistent, has been pretty consistent. So that should help out with their roster continuity. Josh Allen's dual threat dominance. He's a fantasy cheat code, averaging 22.8 fantasy points over the last 4 seasons. 12 rushing touchdowns make him a lock for one of the top quarterbacks, if you go that way. They're returning all 5 starters on the line. Bill's offensive line is the best in the division, giving Josh Allen time to pick apart defenses or run over defenses or whatever he wants to do. Will the defense be improved? With Joey Bosa coming in, should that help? Will it help? Will he play? I don't know. He's always hurt. So is that really a great signing? I don't know. You're not spending a whole lot. You're not losing out a whole lot if he doesn't. I mean, 1-year deal. It's worth the risk, I believe. Now, the Bills have the 5th easiest schedule. But they do have tough games against Baltimore, Kansas City, and Cincinnati, all at home. So that helps with that. And, of course, the playoffs. Consistent playoff appearances that'll raise expectations, but the Bills have yet to break through to a Super Bowl. Their mental toughness in clutch situations is a big question mark. Allen's prone to get injured too as well. He's always missed a little bit of time. He seems like he's always getting hurt on some plays sometimes, so that's something to keep an eye on. Then you got the receiving core. While Khalil Shakir and Josh Palmer should be solid, it lacks depth post Stephon Diggs era. Dalton Kincaid, who is the top tight end, has knee issues and was underwhelming last year as a tight end for Buffalo. You also have Dawson Knox out there at tight end, who Josh Allen, I believe him and Josh Allen are pretty big buddies. They've been on Hard Knocks this year, the Buffalo Bills, and they've had some interactions there, it seems like. But we'll see how that is for him this year. And then you have a running back, James Cook. He led the NFL with 16 rushing touchdowns in 2024. His first season, he had 3 touchdowns. His second season, he had 6. Last season, I think he had 18 overall. So if the math is correct, he should have 72 total touchdowns this year. just following the trends. I don't know. Their over under was, what would you say their over under was
11.
for wins? 11.5. I'm going to take the over on that. Their first few weeks of the season, I believe, like they're playing 6 teams that didn't make the playoffs last year. Now that does include the Bengals in there, but I think that they've got a fairly decent schedule here for a team that made the playoffs to face that many non-playoff teams. It's a little bit different, but you're also got 6 games against teams that didn't make the playoffs last year too. That helps out with that schedule. So I like them to go over on it. I don't like them to have as good a year as last year, but I think that they'll get about 12 wins this year. So I like Buffalo to get this division. I think they'll win this division, and that's the Bills. And next, we'll go to, how about we go to the New England Patriots?
Ooh.
Gage.
Switching it up. Okay.
Switching it up, yeah. I'm thinking, let's do it a little bit different here. Let's go Patriots here.
Yeah, so the Patriots finished last year at 4-13. Very, very underwhelming. BetMGM has their win line set at 8.5 this year, which is a very big jump from that 4-13 record that they had last year. So my key question, does Drake May have enough weapons in the passing game? I think that's been the biggest downfall during Drake May's tenure, has been, who in the world is he throwing to besides Hunter Henry? It feels like he was his favorite target, and rightfully so. Probably the only name on the offense that he knew. After fielding the league's worst receiving corps in 2024, by far the worst, New England added Stephon Diggs, 31 years old, coming off an ACL tear. Also added Matt Collins, and they drafted 3rd-round pick Kyle Williams. He's a deep threat, and he was one of the best schematic fits in the draft. They should be better. Should does not mean they will, but they should be better. Position to watch, I'm going to not go to the receiving core, go to the offensive line. Early camp reports do not sound promising at all for this revamped unit. It struggles throughout the spring, struggles so far throughout the preseason, training camp, OTAs, everything. It's going to be the biggest question around this Patriots unit. And that's also going to affect the running game. It's going to affect Travion Henderson. It's going to affect Ramondre Stevenson. Drake may get hurt if he gets blindsided as many times as I think he's going to get by this turnstile of an offensive line. I kind of added something different here. I added a breakout unit. We're going to go to the Patriots defense. Offseason additions, defensive tackle Milton Williams. The return of defensive tackle Christian Barmore. Those are 2 reasons why this group could become a force in Mike Vrabel's first season. I think this defense is primed to break out, and it's hard to say why. It's hard to name a player and say why. I think the unit as a whole is going to be great. I don't know if the offense is going to be able to keep up and keep the defense off the field, kind of like a Pittsburgh Steelers thing. So are they better than what they were in 2024? I say, of course, because no team saw their projected win total increase more than New England. They lost 6 one-score games last season, and it improved in nearly every facet. Could be a quick turnaround, especially with the league's second easiest schedule, mainly thanks to the Jets and Dolphins being in there, plus the games against the NFC South. But hey, that's neither here nor there. Could 10 wins be possible with this team? Could they hit double-digit wins? I think it's possible, but I don't think it's likely to happen. 8.5, I'm going to take the under, but I do think that they improve from last year and go 7 or 8 wins.
Ooh. So a dismal 4-13 season. They exposed offensive woes, second to last in total offense, despite a stout defense. So what do you do when it's like that? Well, you replace a former New England Patriots linebacker at head coach with a former New England Patriots linebacker at head coach. Rookie Drake May showed some promise, earning a Pro Bowl nod in limited action. But anybody can make the Pro Bowl, right? Of course. But poor drafting and coaching instability under Mayo led to a last-place finish. Although in the week 1, they did defeat the Cincinnati Bengals 16-10. Somehow that happened. I still don't know how that happened, but it did happen, and the Bengals missed the playoffs because of that game right there. Not that I'm hot about it or anything. It's cool, whatever. So some key offseason additions, of course, head coach Mike Vrabel, who took last year off because nobody hired him. Coming over from Tennessee. Offensive coordinator Josh McDaniels is back. He's a lot better coordinator than he is a head coach. Just ask Broncos and Raiders fans. They will tell you. Wide receiver Stephon Diggs coming off of that ACL. Then you get in the draft, you get offensive tackle Will Campbell. Travion Henderson from the draft out of Ohio State, running back. They added Morgan Moses. They added Harold Landry, Milton Williams, Robert Spillane, Carlton Davis, and key losses. They didn't really lose a whole lot. You ask who they had at wide receiver, man, you forgot Pop Douglas. Come on. I mean, yeah.
That's on me. I'll take that one.
That doesn't scare a defense. I don't know what will. Then you got Ramondre Stevenson back, though last year he struggled quite a bit at running back. You drafted Travion Henderson, and I think that he's going to push to become the starting running back, and I think by week 8 he's going to be the starter, the main guy, and Stevenson's kind of going to fade out. Yeah. They've upgraded their defense, like I said, with some players there, and they've tried to get some players on the offensive line, but like you said, it hasn't been working out so well for them. So that's key to seeing if they can protect Drake May. He showed some flashes in 2024. He had at least one touchdown in every start except for week 18. And he's got the potential to scramble around and run the ball a little bit under what Vrabel liked to run the ball a lot in Tennessee. So we'll see. That's going to be interesting to see how that affects Drake May and his running ability. Stephon Diggs coming off of an ACL. Will he return to the form that he had when he was in Buffalo? I don't know. It's hard to tell. He really wasn't all that great last year with Houston before the injury. And they're wanting him to be a number 1 wide receiver once again. I don't know. I don't know how that's going to go. They're bringing in a whole new offense here under Vrabel and McDaniels. So there's going to be an adjustment. Behind Diggs, there's not a lot. Pop Douglas, and then you said there were some rookies there that they're unproven. So we'll see how that is. And then they got some older players on the defense. So some of the younger guys may need to step up to kind of help out the older guys over on the defense. So their win total was 8.5. So I think they're giving a little bit too much credit to Mike Vrabel. I know it's a weak division. They've got a weak schedule for the most part. I mean, they got one of the easier schedules in the league. 8.5 wins is a lot for a team that had 4 last year and didn't really add a whole lot, in my opinion. So I think that they're going to go under on that 8.5 win total, but I do think that they'll get 7 or 8, and I think that there's a potential if everything works out good, and maybe they depend on if Travion Henderson comes on pretty good. Maybe they can get up to 10 somehow, but I think it's going to go under if I was to pick. So give me the Patriots at the under. I think that I'm going to go ahead and spoil it. I think that they're going to be second place in this division. So that'll lead us to, and let's go ahead and get them out of the way because they're in the basement. I'm going to pick them to be in the basement. You're familiar with the quarterback for this team, and it is the New York Jets.
Yeah. This team finished 5-12 last year, and I don't think they got better. I don't think they got better at all. Their win line is set at 5.5, and I put my key question, just 4 simple words. How does this implode? Because it's the Jets. It always seems to implode. I kind of asked the same question last year because New York seemed primed to build off a 2023 Zach Wilson 7-10 finish. However, they somehow got more dysfunctional and extended their playoff drought to 14 years. I put my position to watch as the running back. It's no secret, I don't think at all, that the Jets offense plans to run the ball a lot. But we still don't know how this talented backfield will be split. Breece Hall, he's ready for a 3-down role. But offensive coordinator Tanner, Engstrand, you hail from Detroit, have a normal last name maybe. It almost seems like Hall kind of plays maybe the Jahmyr Gibbs role, while Braylon Allen is David Montgomery type. And also expect their quarterback to run plenty as well. Speaking of the quarterback, he's my breakout player, Justin Fields. Now, that's not saying much because his team does not have much. But it kind of seems like his no-nonsense approach is winning over teammates and coaches, but I don't know if it's going to translate to on-field success. They had a joint practice the other day. I think it was with the Giants. And Fields was missing throws that you and I could make. It was bad. Now, if they add a number 2 receiver, this might be the best supporting cast of Fields' career. Again, not saying much because he didn't have much in Chicago. He didn't have much in Pittsburgh besides Pickens. So maybe there's potential for him to break out a little bit. I doubt it, though. Are they better than what they were in 2024? I'm not sure. It's up in the air. Leaning on a run game built behind an above-average offensive line and a defense that should bounce back under head coach Aaron Glenn, the Jets should be better than the 5-12 record. How much better? That all hinges on the shoulders of Justin Fields. Their win line set at 5.5. It's the Jets. I got to take the under. I mean, they're the basement of this division, like you talked about. I don't see any reason why they get above 5 wins. They may end up with 3 or 4 wins just because it is, as you said it, the Jets.
A disastrous 5-12 season. Crushed their, yes, and I'm going to say this, crushed their Super Bowl hopes. Because, yes, they did think that they were going to the Super Bowl. And a lot of people was like, Rodgers is going to be back. And they have got all this talent. They are going to be a Super Bowl contender. So, yes, they did have those intentions at the beginning of the year. But 5-12 ain't getting it done. And it was marked by player drama and personnel firings mid-season. The defense was elite, 3rd in total yards allowed. But the offense collapsed with Aaron Rodgers struggling at the helm. Some key offseason moves. They bring in head coach Aaron Glenn from Detroit, the defensive coordinator, who, yes, if you look at Detroit's stats last year defensively, they gave up a lot of points, but that defense was depleted. Aaron Glenn, I thought, did a decent job with what he had last year in Detroit to get him to where they was. We'll see if he can bring that out in the Jets. I think the defense will be good once again. But that's not the question this year. That wasn't the question last year. They also bring in quarterback Justin Fields, wide receiver Josh Reynolds. Scaring anybody yet? And then they drafted some offensive tackle. I'm not even going to pronounce the name. Another offensive tackle with, I'm not going to pronounce the name, and they bring in a tight end, Mason Taylor out of LSU. Jason Taylor, former defensive end for the Dolphins' son. They lose C.J. Mosley, D.J. Reed, and Aaron Rodgers were their key losses. They bring back some potential. Garrett Wilson out at wide receiver. You got Breece Hall running back. Defensively, Quinnen Williams and Sauce Gardner is back. They should have an improved offensive line that will better protect Fields than what he had, at least in Chicago. Pittsburgh's offensive line, I believe, was decent for him. Not bad. Justin Fields averaged 38.5 rushing yards per game and 5 touchdowns in 6 starts for Pittsburgh. Not too bad. Garrett Wilson, he's a consistent 1,000-yard receiver despite poor quarterback play, and he also has college chemistry with Fields from their time at Ohio State. Will that make a difference? Maybe. Maybe that's all Fields needs is some familiarity out there. Who knows? I don't know. I don't know. Weakness, though, the weakness is Fields' passing inconsistency. He struggles as a passer. And with that receiving room, beyond Wilson, you've got Josh Reynolds, like I said, Alan Lazard, an aging Alan Lazard, who I'm surprised he didn't go to Pittsburgh. They lack depth over there. And then on the defense, they lost a few guys, but I don't think that that's going to be much of an issue with who all they're bringing back. That defense was good last year, elite. I look for it to be again. Aaron Glenn's first year will bring some growing pains, I believe, especially on the offensive side. Fields' limitations, it's going to be tough, especially in this division. So their over-under total, I think you said, was 5.5.
Yes, sir.
I'm going with the under on that as well. So I look for them to be in the basement once again this year, JETS, Jets basement. And that leads us to the last team, the Miami Dolphins. Gage?
Yeah, Miami finished 8-9 last year, second in the division, and they actually had the best points allowed per game defensive-wise in the entire division, 21.4, which was 10. Their BetMGM win line is set at 8.5, and my key question is focused around head coach Mike McDaniel. Can he save his job with a playoff win? Because that's probably what it takes. Search Dolphins playoff win, and you'll be transported back to the year 2000, as Miami hasn't won one in nearly a quarter century. Despite 2 playoff appearances in 3 years together, time, I think, is running out for the computer engineer of a coach and GM Chris Grier. My position to watch might have something to do with an off-season trade that happened, and I'm going to go to the safety position. Jalen Ramsey, as we all know, was swapped to Pittsburgh for the cheaper, younger Minkah Fitzpatrick. Ramsey made it clear he didn't want to stay in Miami. So it was kind of like hey, let's get him out of here. Fitzpatrick, though, I'm going to say it, rarely made splash plays in Pittsburgh, but still offers a reliable, talented option for a safety group that lost Javon Holland to free agency. There's a chance, small chance, but a chance, defensive coordinator Anthony Weaver helps Fitzpatrick return to an all-pro level. Now, breakout player. He sustained an injury here the other day and was carted off the field. And I'm really having bad luck with this today. But I have Edge Chop Robinson as my breakout player. I know it was said that his injury may not be as bad as we thought originally, which is very good and does not make me sound as much of an idiot while doing this. Their 2024 first-round pick had a mid-year breakout last season. He had 6 sacks and 45 quarterback pressures from weeks 9 to 18. His pressure rate, 17.2%, tied Nick Bosa for third among players with 300-plus pass rush snaps. Say that 5 times fast. Behind only Myles Garrett and Micah Parsons. Robinson, as long as he, can actually play this year, should become a well-known name. So are they better than what they were in 2024? Unfortunately, I'm going to say no. I think this is Coach McDaniel's last year as coach for the Dolphins. They, traded away Ramsey and Jonnu Smith and replaced them with Minkah Fitzpatrick and, we all know the rap game of Darren Waller. I think he's going to come in and be lights out. Not at all. They also lost trench veterans, defensive end Calais Campbell and left tackle Teron Armstead. So I think that's a net negative. However, they get the return of edge Jalen Phillips and Bradley Chubb. So that gives Miami an imposing defensive line. But their questionable secondary and weak offensive line are 2 reasons why I don't expect a Dolphins playoff win this season, playoff run, or a winning record. 8.5 is their win total. I'm going to take the under on it.
An 8-9 season fell short of playoff expectations with this team, hampered by Tua Tagovailoa's Week 2 injury and Tyreek Hill's worst career output following his arrest before the Week 1 game last year, which I think maybe threw him off for the whole season. At least that's the excuse I would use if I was him. The defense ranked 4th in yards allowed, but lost Jalen Ramsey in that trade to Pittsburgh, and the offense struggled without Tua, finishing 25th in total TDs. And this team, when they were going. They were fun to watch. Last year, they weren't fun to watch. The year before, they were fun to watch. There was some offseason drama this past offseason with Tyreek Hill, talking about maybe not wanting to be there, saying, I'm out, and all this stuff. So there seems like there's maybe some hurt feelings in that locker room between him and Tua and maybe McDaniel. I don't know how that'll translate to the field. But they brought in some key additions like Zach Wilson at quarterback because we know he's going to get some run because Tua's definitely going to get hurt because he always gets hurt. Unfortunately, I mean, I hate it for him, but it's just a fact of life. You put Tua out there, he's going to end up injured. Hopefully it's not a concussion because, man, that guy can't have too many of them. And then they bring in linebacker Willie Gay Jr., and then running back Alexander Madison to take over for, who did they get rid of? Mostert. Raheem Mostert. Then they drafted Kenneth Grant in the draft. They unretired Darren Waller to bring him in because, man, that's going to really set the world on fire. They lose Jonnu Smith, so you replace Darren Waller, or you replace Jonnu Smith with Darren Waller. Anybody scared here? Anybody? No, didn't think so. You lose Jalen Ramsey, you lose Raheem Mostert, you lose Jeff Wilson. So you get rid of half of the old 49ers that you've got, and you bring in some retired guys. So that's cool for them. Head coach Mike McDaniel is on the hot seat. Everybody thought that he was this big genius. Like I said, they were fun to watch offensively when things are rolling right. But when they're not, man, they are bad. They are not fun to watch at all. They are one of the worst teams to watch, in football. And they got explosive weapons. Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle. They remain elite, maybe. And then you got Devon Achan's versatility. He had 78 receptions, 6 touchdowns last year. So there's firepower there. Achan, when Tua played, he led the running backs in receptions in the NFL. He's a top-tier running back if Tua stays healthy. On defense, they bring in Minkah Fitzpatrick. As you said, a younger guy, cheaper, a defensive anchor, though he can't cover all of the secondary weaknesses. Tua's health, concussion, single game, 17 season making. What is that? What did I write down? He's had concussions. It seems like, he has a concussion just about every other week, and it's always a dangerous one. Like, every time he goes down, he's doing something with his hands. And it's like, what is that? He should never play football again, and some people have said that before. Hopefully he can stay healthy. I don't know. Defensive concerns, losing Ramsey, a week's defensive back group. It could force some shootouts. And if Tua stays healthy, they may have some shootouts. Tyreek Hill's getting older. He's 31 and a wrist injury, and whatever's going on with him in the offseason about him leading, his production may continue to slide. We may be seeing the end of not just Mike McDaniel. We may be seeing the end of Tyreek Hill. We'll see. So the Dolphins over-under, did you say was 8.5 again?
8.5.
8.5. I'm also going to take the under on this one. I think that they're going to underachieve. If you're having Zach Wilson come in and being your top quarterback, it's not good. So, although he did lead the Jets to 7-10, but they had a good defense. Not the Jets. Yes, the Jets.
Yeah.
I was thinking he's in the Broncos last year, but no, when he played, he was 7-10. But he led them to a 7-10, but they had a good defense. This team does not have that good of a defense. You do have like you said, who was the guy? Chop Robinson? Yeah.
Chop Robinson.
He got hurt. Then you got Bradley Chubb over there. I don't know. I like them to go under on that 7, 8.5. I think that they maybe get 6 or 7. They won't be in the basement, but I don't think they'll be in second place either in this division. I think they're going to go third.
Yeah, you mentioned Alexander Madison. He's out for the season now.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, season-ending neck surgery here after the preseason game. So looking at their depth chart for running back, Devon Achane, number 1. And then you got Jalen Wright, Ollie Gordon, and Mike Boone. That run game, I don't think is going to do much.
Ollie Gordon, his junior year at Oklahoma State, was phenomenal. And then he was a senior. And he was disappointing to say the least. So I don't think that's going to translate.
And then what else they got here? Okay, they have one player. He on the depth chart is the starting right cornerback. I hope this guy has a great career. His name is Storm Duck.
Storm Duck.
I've never heard of this guy, but I hope we can put Storm Duck in the Hall of Fame someday.
That would be great. Storm Duck. It sounds like he's on one of them films, like late at night, that you don't want the kids staying up to watch. I don't know. It sounds like one of those characters.
And you would think, oh, that's like a nickname. Like, that's not his actual name. That's his actual name. It's Storm Duck.
Storm Duck. Well,
Storm Chandler Duck.
Look, like Hunter Deckers, like you've revived him back to life last week. Maybe we can get Storm Duck out here going. We'll see.
I don't know, but I certainly hope so.
Storm Duck is competing with Kool-Aid McKinstry for one of the best names in the NFL. So that's the AFC East. Who do we have as our MVP of the AFC East?
MVP, I'm going to take the easy one and go Josh Allen.
I'm going Josh Allen as well for the MVP. I mean, really, who else can you go with?
Yeah. I mean, unless you go Drake May, but I don't think you can.
Any rookies? You like any rookie of the years here? Because, I mean, there's not a whole lot of.
There's not a whole lot, but I like the guy that I mentioned with the Patriots. 3rd-round pick, Kyle Williams, deep threat. I could see him becoming the number 1 receiver during the season at New England.
It's not saying a whole lot. I'm also going to stick with New England for Rookie of the Year, and I'm going Travion Henderson.
Yeah.
As the Rookie of the Year. I think that, like I said, he's going to take over and be running back 1. So they're going to have a couple rookies maybe at the number 1 positions, at skill positions.
And who knows? Maybe he has a couple kickoff returns for touchdowns too.
It may be. We'll see. But that will do it for the AFC East preview. Gage, we got anything else?
I just can't believe football season's almost here. We mentioned it at the top of the show that, wow, this has gone by super quick. Before you know it, we'll be in the playoffs, Pittsburgh and Cincinnati, and keep Baltimore and Cleveland out of here. And then the Super Bowl will be here. Hopefully, maybe a Pennsylvania Super Bowl. Maybe I get the Steelers and the Eagles in it. I doubt it, but maybe. And then we'll be at the draft in Pittsburgh. And, next season we'll be here. It goes by so quick.
It does, and we're almost here, and I'll be flipping back and forth between playoff Reds baseball and regular season Bengals football, hopefully. So, see how that goes.
I will be flipping back and forth between Steelers football and Penguins hockey.
There we go. So that'll do it for this episode. But before we go, I would like to say something on here real quick. Last week, we were recording the episode, and right afterwards, the official mascot of Yelling from the Couch, my dog Tucker, we ended up having to put him down last Friday afternoon. One of the hardest things that I've had to do was with the dog, was to put him down. We first got him. My wife wanted him. I really wasn't too keen on getting him. She got him. We brought him home. He was cute and all, and he started chewing up, your shoes and just everything a pup does. And I still was like, I really don't care much for this dog or whatever. And even when we named him, she's like, what should we name him? And I said, Dog, because he's a dog. Just name him Dog. She's like, no, we have to give him a proper name. Well, Katie was always a big Tucker Barnhart fan, former Reds catcher Tucker Barnhart. So I said, let's just name him Tucker. So we named him Tucker. It was supposed to be hers and the kids' dogs. And throughout the years, this dog just, I don't know, took to me for whatever reason. Whenever I was home, he relaxed. He hung out with me. He laid underneath my feet during football games. When I recorded podcasts, he would lay beside me right here while I was recording. And he was just always there. There was a couple episodes where maybe the mailman came up here and you may have heard Tucker get in on some of this audio. But he was always there for me. And he never, he loved me no matter what. When I would come home from work, nobody was more excited than that dog was. Always, wagging that tail as fast as can be, just so excited. So last week when we had to put him down, it was one of the harder things. But he loved me. He loved Katie. He loved Maria, Isabella, Gracie, Connor, and Skylar like no other. And we're sure going to miss him. We laid him to rest last week. And until we meet you again, Tucker, we'll love you, and you always were the best boy. Rest in peace, buddy.
We love you, Tucker.
And we'll see you all next time.
Later.